The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Sisters Speak. You are joined here today with me, Sonia, and also
me, Lamisa, and me, Farin.
Thank you guys for joining us. Before we begin, I just want to let you guys know how you can listen to us and how you can get in touch. So we are on Instagram at Sisters Speak. We are also on Facebook Live. This is a pre-record, so we won't be able to respond to any WhatsApps or calls directly. But if you do want to get in touch, how can they get in touch, Lamisa?
So you can text or WhatsApp in on 07779 481822. You can call Inspire FM at 01582 481822. We're also on Instagram, so you can send us a comment. You can send us a DM, or you can comment. We're at Sister Speak. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And Farin, would you like to just let everyone know how we are currently recruiting at the moment?
So we are looking for any radio presenters, anyone who can come and volunteer in marketing or social media.
Yeah, exactly. So the opportunity is there for anyone who's interested in radio. You can be speaking on the radio. You could be a presenter. You can be researching for our shows, or you can be on social media side, which includes Instagram, as we mentioned, putting up posts regularly. And it's a really great experience, I would say. It's fun and you get a lot of experience and transferable skills that you can take with you to any other job or anything in the future. So thank you for that, Farin. So now we're going to move on to our Thought of the Week segment. And everything said is a lesson for us and all opinions are our own, just to clarify that. So Lamisa, what is your Thought of the Week?
My Thought of the Week this week is, it's been a busy week.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've had a lot of things going on back to back. And I know a lot of the time I'm a very big advocate for taking a break and relaxing. And I think that is really important to do. But I also think I feel like my thought or my outlook on being busy has kind of changed. And I think it's good because if you're busy, it kind of shows that you're doing a lot of things, you're striving for a lot of things. And it's almost like a blessing in disguise because you have those opportunities and you're working towards them. So I think I'm trying to be more grateful for the things that I'm busy for, and trying to change my mindset slowly in terms of I have a lot of things going on today, but there are still 24 hours in the day. And if I can organize my time properly, then I can have breaks in between and still enjoy the day. So yeah, I think that's my thought for the week, is trying to put everything into proportion and organizing your time so that you can balance things. And balancing is a really hard skill to develop. I know because I've been trying for so long. But I think, if you do small little steps to get towards it, hopefully one day we will be at the point where we can balance things in our lives.
Yeah, and that's so important and very difficult. I think we can all agree balancing is everything. But I just want to really emphasize that quote you said. I'm grateful for the things that make me busy, basically. And it's so important that you said that, and I relate to it so much as well because so often we think, okay, we're busy, we're stressed, and I don't know how to balance it, and so on and so on. But really, we're so lucky that we have things to do, and that things that make us happy, things that make us money. Maybe we're lucky almost. We're blessed, and
100%.
I'm thinking back. I actually recall the times, and often it would be say, for example, your summer holidays, if you're in education, or if you're out of work, like a career break or whatever it may be, those times you really do feel it and you think, what am I doing? You start to feel like I have no purpose. What am I doing at home? Every day feels the same.
Yeah.
So if you think back to those times and then compare it to your busy times now,
Definitely.
you really do feel that gratefulness.
Yeah, because I feel like I got into somewhat of a rut of feeling so overworked and feeling so burnt out, like there's so many things to do, and then you kind of accept that that's just how it's going to be and you have to just get through it. And I feel like that mentality is what makes it even more tiring.
Yeah.
And that's what I've started to realize now. It's like, it's a mentality thing where if you're like, I'm grateful for the things that make me busy, and of course I need to take a break, and if I factor those things in, then, you know, you should be grateful for the things that you are doing because it's a good use of your time, right?
Yeah, I think adults have nailed that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we're not adults yet. And Farin, you're yet to experience. But I actually remember having that feeling where at first I resented it.
Yeah.
Like, OMG, this is the rest of my life.
Yeah.
There'll always be this to do and this to do and this to do. And you start to overthink it and get a bit stressed. Then when you take a back step and you're like, no, this is life, but positive. Like, this is a good thing. I'm happy to be doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah, like last year I wasn't doing anything. I was not busy at all. And who would have said that, I was going to do so many things. And now this year I'm so busy, but it's like a good busy, like I have stuff to do. I enjoy doing it. And my week is all full. So I'm not just sitting at home. I'm getting like new experiences and stuff.
Exactly. And it's that enjoy doing it. I feel like when we think, oh, we're going to spend the whole day outside, we're not thinking of all the small interactions that day consists of, all the good work that you're doing within that day. And when you think about it from that perspective, like if you think, oh, I've given even something as simple, like I talk about simple acts of kindness, even something like I've given my seat up on the bus for someone else that day. That's something that I feel like makes that day worth it.
Yeah, it makes that person's day as well.
And it makes the other person's day as well.
Small things. But Farin, like you were just saying, last year you were so bored almost. And if you just compare it, doesn't it feel so much better to be doing things this year?
It does. I met so many people, like, because I was like, I didn't have any friends last year. I didn't have anyone to talk to. So when you like join like this stuff and you do work, you go outside and you meet people and then you get help if you need anything. So that's why, I'm really grateful for like all the stuff that I'm doing this year.
Oh, that's so good to hear. Thank you, Lamisa, as well for the thought of the week. Farin, do you have a thought of the week?
My thought of the week. So I was thinking about how like growing in like a Muslim household and stuff, and how you really, when you grow up, so you really have to find what Islam is yourself. And I was just thinking about how much you have to do your own research, because you don't have to believe what your parents believe. So you like do your own research, what you want to believe, what you think it's right for you, what you want to practice. So I was just thinking about that and how much it also obviously impacts you growing in a Muslim like household. You get that, but you also do your research and you're like, oh, I think this is right. I don't think this is right. You can, be a bit different. So that's why I was thinking about that of, researching about Islam is so like fun and peaceful for your own stuff. Like it's about you and the religion, not about growing in a Muslim household.
Yes, I think that's so important. Again, we can do a whole show on that one. I love that topic. But it's nice that you mentioned it because I think nearly every teenager, maybe teenager or young adult has that moment where they think, actually, I want to know the religion for myself, not just grow up, listen to what my parents are telling me and carry on. Like, it's a faith, it's something you believe in. So you need to believe in it. You need to believe in it wholeheartedly and understand it. Because a lot of the times we don't actually understand it when we're kids. It's just a way of like that you've grown up, the way you've been taught.
And not just us, the people who are teaching us a lot of the time do not know or haven't fully researched, and it's passed down through generations, and it comes to a point where we have to take the onus on ourselves, because what Farin said is true. It's you and your religion. It's you and your relationship with God, and no one else can do that for you. That's solely up to you.
And we're actually lucky / blessed again because we get to do that research so easily, and we have the internet on our fingertips. We have that capability, whereas maybe our parents didn't have that chance. They had to take whatever their parents told them as well. So it's so like good that we get to do that. But yeah, the researching your own religion, for yourself, I'm still in that process as well. And I think it's really good that you mentioned it, because then you almost have a love for the religion more, because you understand it. You are choosing to have this belief now. It's not just, I was born into this family and I grew up this way.
Yeah, I think everyone learns about Islam every day. No, there's nobody who knows everything about the religion. So every day you learn a little bit more, and everything you learn, it like impacts you a little bit in like your personal,
Yeah, so that's a great thought of the week. Thank you so much for that. I do not have a thought of the week this week, guys, because I'm tired. That's all I have to say. But yeah, I just want to emphasize that our show is a platform for girls to voice their own opinions on current events or maybe issues. Just have discussions on general topics that could be about religion, culture, politics, social media, anything. And just to reiterate, all opinions and views are our own. We respect all other opposing or similar views and opinions. Okay, so thank you for the thought of the week, guys. We're going to move on to one of our hot topics. Today's hot topic is about fundraising, and it's about helping out in quotation mark, developing countries. And the reason why we brought up this whole topic really is because one of our very own, Lamisa, is in the process of raising money for a charity. And I think the charity focuses on healthcare and developing education around health for women in Bangladesh. Lamisa, would you be able to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. So I've recently joined MA, and that stands for Maternal Aid Association. And they're an extremely good charity because the work that they do is not just a one-off type of thing. It's sustainable. And like you said, talking about health education, things like that. So just to give you a bit of background on what it is, it's a grassroots charity striving to improve the situation in resource-poor settings to bring about safe, effective and high-quality maternal health care. So it's aimed around providing, accessible healthcare to pregnant women. So they essentially have a trip every single year called Journey Ma, where they go in the summer and they set up health camps in villages around Bangladesh, and they take students in healthcare settings to kind of help run these camps. And what happens here is mothers can come in, they can get health checkups, they can get access to free medication, and then we also have the health education that occurs. And I think that's one of the most important things, because you can give people free meds and you can give them free checkups and be like, you need to go to the doctor now. But a lot of the way that kind of what people learn in Bangladesh about their health comes from family, comes from what their parents have known, come from what their ancestors kind of known, and it's kind of brought down across generations, right? If you actively and accurately educate the population, then you allow them to share accurate information between themselves. So that way you're educating for generations to come. And all of that leads to health improvement and sustainable health development, which I think is what exactly Bangladesh needs. Because, in rural settings, they don't have access to primary care meaning like GP centres and all of these types of things. And to be honest, primary care, I believe, is kind of where it begins, because you need someone that you can go to who will be there to direct you on to where you need to go. Whereas in Bangladesh, the system is more kind of turn up at a hospital and see what's going on. So yeah, that's kind of the work that they're doing. I feel like it's really great work, because it works towards that sustainable development, which I think is one of the most important things that a charity could do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you so much. And would you say that their focus is on women? Did you say?
Yes. So their focus is for maternal health, women's health, so obstetrics and gynecology, basically. So yeah.
Okay, that is so important.
Yeah.
And it's so nice that you're hopefully going to be joining the team.
Inshallah,
going out there.
Inshallah.
We will all be sharing the fundraising link. It will be on our Instagram, on Sister Speak. But yeah, it's exciting. What would you do if you went there? Do you know?
So I'd be part of like taking the blood pressure, doing the health checks, and all of that type of stuff. Basically, helping running the everyday, like the day-to-day of the camps. So yeah, it's an exciting opportunity, and I think it's a good clinical experience, because you get to work with people who are not in the UK. You get to see what the challenges are for them, and that kind of helps you up for future practice, because if you ever see people who have come from Bangladesh, you kind of know where they're coming from. It gives you that experience to their situation.
Exactly,
So,
or people that are Bengali, basically, anyone of Bengali background.
And I feel like maternal health is an area which kind of needs to be focused on a lot more in Bangladesh. Some of the statistics and the figures are almost scary when you look at it in terms of miscarriage rates, things like that. So inshallah, with the work that they're doing, they can help to kind of improve that slightly.
Yeah,
it's going to be really helpful for them, the camps and everything.
Yeah, inshallah.
So, Farin, just on that topic, what do you think about the whole thing about going out there and providing this healthcare and healthcare education to people in Bangladesh?
I think it's a really good opportunity for the Bengali people there, because obviously on an underdeveloped country, there's they don't know much about health and stuff. So it's really good that you're going there and going camps. It's gonna be a good experience for you and for them, and they can see what clinical help and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's about increasing access to information, right, and ensuring that they have access to healthcare, which in rural settings is just a bit bit more difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
But I think what's really great about it is the education part. So if you teach one woman something, you know, she can now go on and teach the rest of her family.
Exactly.
The rest of her neighbors.
Yeah.
Or her daughter. Now her daughter has that education and she can continue with that. So
Yeah.
that's very important, the education part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why it's such an important charity. I'd appreciate if any of our listeners there, if you guys do want to donate, then you can go search up. Their Instagram is marglobal_. So you can go check them out. So if you just type in marglobal, I'm sure it'll come up. But
yeah. Well, we'll be sharing Lamisa's direct page as well on our Instagram bio.
Instagram, yeah.
So please do donate to Lamisa's bio link as the link as well for that.
Thank you.
But yeah, I just want to talk about charity in general. So I was speaking to Maryam last week about how I was supporting the Luton Food Bank as well. And then we spoke a little bit how about this is the coldest time of the year, especially in the UK. Every year it gets colder. Literally, it's so cold already, and it's only the 3rd of December when we recorded the show. But yeah, so what other initiatives do you guys maybe know of, or you think is important, or you are going to take part in, or want to take part in, Farin?
I think just volunteering, like I volunteer in a charity here based in Luton, and it's just like really helpful. They need volunteers as well. So anything that you can do to help, it's your community and you can get experience from it and see what people need out there as well.
So where do you volunteer at the moment?
I volunteer at Friends of Bright Eyes here in Luton. It's a local charity with the NHS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what do they do?
So they help like disabled children in a school, and we have sessions going on. And we talk with those children. We play with them, you know, and the parents can also get like a bit of like relax. And it's like 4 hours. So you guys should all volunteer in like charities because it's really good for you. I'm getting the experience, but it's also like rewarding.
Yeah. And what would you say about people that might not have time to do? Does it take up a lot of your time? What would you say?
It's only once a week, but even if you can't be there physically, you can also do like raise awareness on the social media or just donate stuff.
Yeah,
like
on
money,
that point, like you've raised a really important point. Charity is not just money; it can also be time, and it's not just time; it can also be raising awareness. You know, charity is done in so many different forms, and I feel like a lot of the time we kind of see charity and we're like, yeah, we'll do it, and then we never actually get around to it. But I feel like if you just kind of it takes like 2 seconds out of your day if you want to make a donation, if you want to do something maybe once a week, that's your time. It's not financially impacting you in any way, but you're making a difference by going out and giving your time. Yeah. And if you're raising awareness for the cause, and there might be other people who can help in different ways, and you've actually been a part of that because you've shared whatever it is.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that one. Just depends on whatever you have to give. If you've got money to give the money. If you've got time to give the time.
Yeah.
I actually spoke about this last week as well, that I met a guy who was, I think, 77 years old, and he is retired, so he doesn't work. And I asked him what he does, and he says, I'm at the warehouse nearly every day. And I said, what warehouse?
Yeah.
I thought he meant like Amazon or something, right? And then he was like, no, at the food bank warehouse. Oh. So he's there organizing the food every day, taking in donations and stuff. And that's completely voluntary.
Yeah.
And it's just because he has the time to give. And it's what else would I be doing?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't I do this?
Yeah.
And it just keeps you active as well. I think
100%.
that's the way to look at it. It's something to do. And as you mentioned, Lamisa, it's good to keep busy as well, isn't it?
So. Especially when you're developing your community or you're working for like social improvement, you know, I feel like you're using your time for a greater cause.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. So we still have a few minutes left of our first half of the show. So I'm going to go to a question that's from the second half of our show and just introduce the topic. Okay, so our main topic of today's show is about being a woman. As you know, this is called Sisters Speak, and we are all girls on this chat. So we're just going to talk a little bit about being a woman, growing up as one, and other things that we felt like we need to change in life as we grew up. And is that because specifically we are women? Before we start, I just want to ask you guys both, do you think there are gender conventions for women, and in what way do they affect women? So I know this is kind of a heavy loaded question almost because, you know, I've done essays on this kind of topic when I was at uni, you know, literally like 3,000 word essays. But we'll just touch upon it as we've just still got a few minutes left of the first half of our show, just about just in general, what are kind of some gender conventions? If we're thinking basic stereotypes, let's go.
There's so many. So many, like, in terms of your education, the work that you do, the responsibilities that you have.
Women belong in the kitchen.
Yeah. You know, these basic types of things, or they belong at home, basically. That's your place of work. And home very much is a place of work, I agree. Looking after a household is a huge responsibility and takes a lot of effort. But it's not something that we're limited to.
So I will obviously go into this more in the second half of the show. But I think that the West, and maybe now even parts of the East, have really, really diminished and kind of dissolved the importance and the weight it takes to be a homemaker. And to be a person who is cooking, cleaning, making that house a home, literally raising children, having children, just having children, full stop, and raising children. It's so huge that let's put it like this, if there was a wage, that should be the highest paid job. That's genuinely 100%. How I see it.
And to make those kids into decent people.
Exactly. To raise
after
children,
doing all of the household jobs that you need to do.
Yes.
To then ensure that after all of that, the person that comes out of it is a decent human being.
Yeah. I personally just genuinely think that bearing a child and raising a child and giving birth, etc., not only would it be the highest paid job, but also it should be the most respected.
Yes.
So it should be something that people look at you, oh, you're a mother, like you have children, you raise them, these are your kids. You know, that should be a moment where you're like, the same as when you meet, like, I don't know, a neurosurgeon or an astronaut or something. Definitely. That should really be a moment. And it should be respected in such a way that you think, you know, this person shouldn't even have another job, if that makes sense. And if they say they have another job, which most females do out there, that should just be like a crazy moment.
100%.
Again. And then again, the respect needs to be there in the sense that you think, for example, if you're in a household and you were spending money, that person who now earns that money, that female, in what I'm trying to say is they should be taken care of in a way as well. Because who is going to take care of a lady while she's taking care of everyone else? That this is a whole topic. But anyway, back to the question I asked, which was the stereotype and the conventions. Farin, what's another convention or stereotype about women?
There's so many, but I can't think of one right now.
Women are weaker.
Or they're stupid.
Bimbos.
And this is so frustrating because you see people online talking about, and I've seen it more often now, they talk about just the way women are these days and how they act outside in settings, and they try to bring forth all of these like really well articulated arguments on, you know, why for some reason we're stupid and we're just acting out just for a feminist movement or anything like that. You hear all these words, these buzzwords.
I don't even want to use the word feminist today on
honestly,
this radio show.
If I'm honest, I'm just like, I don't think it's asking for too much to say that if I have a job, I come home, do my part of the chores for the person, whoever I'm living with, whatever, to also have their job and come home and also do part of their job. I don't think that's asking for a lot. But what was I saying on the lines of women being stupid? It's almost like it's condescending the way people put forward their arguments about women, talking about women in a way like we don't have a brain to talk about it ourselves. Or if you go into, especially in the workplace, and especially in areas where there's a lot of academically strong people, you see the misogyny almost shine through. When they talk to you, when people are discussing things, you know you're right, but they try and argue that you're wrong, and then they realize you're right, and they're like, oh yeah, you are right, well done.
And it's so surprising for a woman to be correct. And it's almost like, oh, well done, what a pat on the back, thank you for you know.
I knew I was right. I was telling you I was right.
Yes.
So why you...
And you know what, we've got 2 minutes left before the end of the first half, but I totally agree with you, Lamisa. And I think there's so much there's no respect. Again, there's no respect.
That's
for
what
women.
I mean. It's the lack of respect and
Then,
the lack
but we're
of
not
value.
even seen. Okay, we shouldn't be seen as equals. My opinion is that we should be seen as more than anyway, because we are more than. We can do more than. But in that sense, it's very, very. We're almost children. We're almost like seen as children in a way. That's the way I see it.
I think my issue with a lot of people when I see them talking about women and women in general, it's almost like they want to say that we are not equal, and we have roles that are different, which I agree with.
I do.
I agree, but I think each human being has value, and the way these people talk about women, they don't give women the value or the respect. Each individual has inherent value. Each human being has inherent value. That's why we're judged on our own deeds. We are our own people. And I think what's important is, yes, we're different, and we have different, we can have different, we can have different roles, we can have different jobs to do, we can have different things, but it doesn't mean that we're not valued as human beings. And the way these people talk about women is so disrespectful. And there's no value, and it's obvious that they're just misogynistic.
It's so reductive as well, but that is something we'll get into more in the second half of the show. But we are going to just talk a little bit more about how we have experiences as we grow up and things that we might have changed, or if I felt like my gender has stopped me from achieving certain milestones. But yeah, we will go into that in the second half of the show. Please do come back to listen to us. Again, we are on Instagram at Sisters Speak, where you can always contact us, and we're also on Facebook Live. And join us for the second half, where we'll be discussing this topic in more detail. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Atif Nawaz. Listen to Inspire FM shows in your time by heading over to inspirefm.org or listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Assalamu alaikum, guys, and thank you so much for coming back to Sisters Speak. Just before we start, Maryam, would you like to just, she has joined the show now. Hi, say hi, Maryam.
Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum.
And would you like to just tell everyone how we are on a recruitment drive at the moment?
Yeah, so currently we're doing a recruitment drive. If you want to get involved, you can contact us at Sisters Speak at inspirefm.org. We do have a couple of roles to promote. So if you want to join our social media team, where we will be asking you to help us increase our engagement. If you're interested in research, then you can help us create proposal plans. If you're interested in networking, then we have a liaison kind of position. So there's lots of different types of positions, depending on what you're interested. The whole kind of purpose of it is we want to make sure that we give you the opportunity to hone upon the skills that you have and to give you a great volunteering opportunity. And of course, if you want to be on radio, we'd love to have you on.
Thank you so much. Yes, so you can get in touch with us on at Sister Speak, which is on Instagram, and our email
sisterspeak at inspirefm.org, or you can contact us on Facebook at inspirefm, and just to note down your interest by messaging the Facebook platform.
Thank you. So in the first half of the show, we spoke about our thought of the week, and we spoke about charity work, and we got into our main topic of today, which is about being a woman. Are there things about us that we need to change? And Lamisa did speak a little bit about her experiences, but she's not here for the second half of the show. So Maryam, just to catch you up, me and Farin were talking about conventions, gender conventions for women, and also stereotypes. We spoke about women belong in the kitchen. We spoke about how we feel that women don't have the value attributed to them that they should, because they literally make a house a home most of the time. I'm not talking about all women, I'm talking about some women. Anything you want to add to that, just the gender conventions and stereotypes?
Yeah, I think just kind of the stereotype that women are overly emotional and they're not rational, and that leads to men being condescending or mansplaining, which really hinders them, especially in the workplace, from progressing. Just because they attribute it to emotions.
So that recently was spoken about in my workplace, and my workplace is heavily dominated by men. And they said, like, oh, women are just emotional. Women cry all the time. Oh, my wife cried the other day when she was just taking the bins out, or this and this. So, okay, first of all, that can be true. I'm not saying it might not be true, but what I'm trying to say is, why is it seen as a bad thing? And what I turned around and said, and this is what I truly believe, I said, we're emotional because we let our emotions out. You're emotional, men, but you keep it in. This is what I believe. Again, And I feel like because they keep it in, we see the effects of this in other ways. You know, you release it in different ways, your stress, your anger, your upset, whatever it is that you were feeling. A lot of the times it comes out in a negative way and it's really bad, or it's bottled up emotions forever. And then you have bad mental health and you have mental health issues. And we know that men don't talk, there's an issue there, but they might not talk about their mental health, how they're feeling, and this can lead to even worse things in the end. So really and truly, I don't feel that women are more emotional in a sense. I feel that everyone has emotions. It's literally normal. It's human life to have feelings and emotions, but we express it differently. And I think it's actually healthier to let your emotions out.
Yeah, on that point, the fact that you said that everyone has emotions, I think even just the patriarchal kind of system in which men cannot express the feelings, it does affect men as well.
Yeah.
People who want to talk about their feelings, they don't want to be attributed to being emotional like a woman.
Yeah.
Those kind of phrases are kind of thrown out. So I think it's in everyone's interest to be able to speak about emotions, to have a healthy way to confront your emotions and to take care of them. I really think that we have to create that safe space, not only for ourselves, for women, but also for men too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like I think if everyone around us, like if they normalize like letting your emotions out, even if you're a woman, I mean, it doesn't matter. Then everyone's gonna be comfortable crying in public. And like it's normal. It's like we're humans, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I myself, I think, didn't cry much when I was younger. You didn't really have much to cry about, to be honest, sometimes. And I'm not saying I cry more now, but I'm saying that I do feel more emotions and I let myself feel them fully, and then it passes, and then I can move on to the next stage. If I didn't let myself feel that, that would be nagging at the back of my head the whole time. No matter what it is, if I feel that, I don't know, someone has been hurtful or mean towards me, I'm not just going to let it fester in my mind forever. I'm going to feel that emotion and then address it or sort out the situation if I can. If I can't, then let it, okay, cry, move on. That's just the way I see things. I know everyone's different. But back to the emotion thing, a lot of the times that's why it's looked as if women can't make decisions rationally. I'm sure you've had that argument before. So a lot of times people say women can't be leaders of countries because they make decisions based on emotions. And I think that's completely unfair and wrong to say, because men make decisions based on emotions a lot of the times as well.
But it's the outcome or the repercussions of the decisions isn't attributed to the emotions, even if it is. And I think one of the things is as well, that whole essence or the whole school of thought is men will be men or boys will be boys. And there's just some sort of leniency towards them. If they make a mistake, that's completely fine. Whereas if a woman was to make the same mistake, there's a whole kind of backlash on that person because, and there's so much focus on them, that person can't recover from them. They don't even have the scope to improve. Whereas the same mistake is made by a female, or a male. If the same mistake is made by a male, then there's a lot of understanding attributed to that person. And I think there's a huge imbalance in the way we kind of look at women and look at men. And going back to the topic of gender convention, I think that's how we've attributed women to be in a negative light in terms of what their capabilities is and what male capabilities are, because we have these notions and attributions to them. In terms of labels, we just label them, and those labels restrict.
Language is so important.
Language is definitely important.
And I think that this was said by, I think, Simone de Beauvoir. I can't really remember who, but it's like an old theory that the way women are viewed in this patriarchal society is that women are the second species. They're not even in the same level. And you see it more and more with the way, like I said earlier, no value is attributed to us. And also, like Lamisa said, if she got something right, a man would be like, oh, well done. And it's like, well, that's so patronizing. Why did you assume that she couldn't get that right when you both have the same education? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that was just the first question, guys. I know we can
just to add a point on a point. Even if you look at example, like you were talking about the women being in the space of a home and she's cooking. For her, she's a cook and that's her role. But if a man decides to do a career in cooking, he's a chef. And so we give them positions and labels that, again, puts them above women. We have this kind of complex that if a man does the same job as a woman.
But who's we, Maryam?
As a community, as a society, it's our ideology that we impose. We impose this gender conventions upon them both. And it starts from a very young age, even in how we attribute colours to a certain gender. We attribute, what is deemed to be correct in terms of strength. So, if a boy is playing with a doll, he's deemed as weak because he's expressing emotions. He wants to look after the child or baby doll, for example. So those kind of things, I think we need to be a little bit more fluid in terms of understanding that it's okay to express emotions and it's okay to take care of those things, and that should be happening from the very, very young age. And also even just beyond gender, thinking about when we tell children, big girls don't cry or big boys don't cry, that is hugely problematic because when a child grows up, they're not going to know how to cry. They're not going to know how to express those things. And then that emotion is going to be translated in other ways and negative ways. And that's going to seep into the way they interact with each other. So I think a lot of it is us taking responsibility in how we even take care of the next generation, how we talk to them. And like Sonia said, to think about the language we use.
Yeah, definitely. It starts with us, like you having little siblings. If you create a safe space for them and you tell them, yeah, it's okay, your emotions are fine. Even if I have two little brothers, even if I tell them like, oh, you can, it's okay to cry. And I tell my little brother every day, like, it's okay. So if we start to create a safe space for all of them, then it's going to be like more normalized in the future.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but I still think there's a long way to go with just society in general. And also, it's not just the emotions thing, is it? There's a lot. It's the way people perceive women. And I mean, internalized misogyny too. So how another woman sees another woman.
100%.
Yeah, that's true.
That is huge. Like if you look at a woman and she is, say, for example, not a bit, maybe she's got the answer wrong to a question. That's it. Does your perception change straight away? Do you think, oh, she's stupid, isn't she? She's just a silly little girl.
Because that's internalized within them. So you're projecting what you have been internalizing. If someone has called you stupid and you've made a mistake, you're going to project those same feelings to someone else. Yeah. And I think we need to be able to negotiate those feelings. Actually, where is this coming from? And is this correct? We should, we don't even within our own community, we don't foster this positivity because we're so used to being, undermined that we tend to undermine others.
Yeah. And it's really good that like Lamisa said, people look at women as if they're, just what you said basically, and they're kind of like children almost. Like you're projecting this, but you shouldn't have to work that's double hard, if that makes sense, twice as hard just to get to the same. It's fine if you are at a different level. Everybody is a human. That's what Lamisa said. So every person should be seen as an individual human, not as, okay, they're a woman or they're a male. It's fine, and you should treat people as a human that has faults, that has strengths, that has weaknesses, and so on.
When you get like something right, you don't need the validation from someone else being like, oh yeah, you did good. Like, I know I did good. I'm not asking you to say, oh, you did good,
I mean, I can go into that more because I do feel like often women are not arrogant, and I sometimes think it's a bad thing. We're very, very humble, and we're very like, when we do get something right, we're not going to be flashing it in someone's faces.
Yeah, I agree.
And sometimes that's a problem. I'm not saying we should. Like, it's good. We're the bigger person in a way. But in a way, it's kind of like, because we don't flaunt it and because we're just so like, yeah, I got it. Like, I know the answer to this. It kind of does make us sometimes seeing that we're a bit weaker, quotation marks, in comparison to men. And we're not in the same competition. We're not even in the same league as them. When really, we might have known something all along, but it's just not spoken about enough. There's women out there that have invented such important things for everyday life, right? Like inventors, I'm talking about, actual engineers and mechanics and inventors. But you wouldn't know it, would you? You don't know who's invented it. You don't. You think inventors, you think of a man most of the time. How bad is that? Yeah. It's just a stereotype that just appears in your head.
Even if you look at the academic results year and year on, females tend to do better than males in GCSEs.
Wow.
And what does that say? And I just think even in academia, I think it's the same thing, especially when you're in talking points. Even in my own experience, I even though my degree was quite female-focused because I did English literature just in my cohort, if a male said something, he would dominate the conversation to the point where my lecturer had to intervene. So I think it does come a space that women probably don't feel that they have the capacity, or they may feel that they've got the capacity to speak, but they don't feel that they deserve to be in that space, and that entire aspect of imposter syndrome.
And also, I feel like women have often been shut down or told to be quiet a lot. Everyone here, and us three girls can say here right now, has been told to like, okay, Sonia, you've made your point. Sit down. Okay, quiet down. And because of so many situations like that, don't you think you've all been in a situation where you're like, oh, I'm just going to leave it? When you know you're right. Have you not all, you can, hand on heart, you can all say you thought, oh, I'm just going to leave it.
It's like wrong for us to be outspoken and, it's like so annoying.
Yeah, see, and we've all been through these experiences.
We're seen as negative if we do speak. She's not a good
You're
girl.
not going to fight for your right. She's
too outspoken. Why is she speaking so much?
Or why doesn't she let it go? you know, why she's so passionate about her opinion and so on and so on.
Being feminine is like always attributed to being like shy, quiet, and not saying anything, being like in a corner. That's all.
That comes from the Victorian years.
Yeah.
I just wanted to actually add as well, even if you think about industries, the kind of computer industry was actually female dominated not many years ago, not many centuries ago. So a lot of men didn't want to get into that because they didn't want to see as feminine. And now the reverse has happened. So there's this inferior complex that's taking place. And I think what we need to do is, I think a really important point that you talked about is that we don't talk about our accolades. And I think it's really important. And that is actually demonstrated when we have interviews. We forget what things that we've achieved because we don't talk about it often. And we're not proud of it. We don't feel that sense of happiness that we've achieved so many milestones.
You know what? If one thing I've learned from the professional app LinkedIn, is that actually really, really small things are often projected and made into something huge. And that's fine if it is huge to you, but we as women need to do that. So something small, like your degree is a huge thing. People put their titles wherever they go sometimes, you know, BA, BSc, whatever it is. And something we just kind of let go.
I haven't even posted about my graduation.
There you go. Neither did I. And other people, they write a whole post on this huge milestone.
It is a huge
and
achievement.
it is a milestone, but that's what I mean. We need to give ourselves our flowers.
And I think another thing, a kind of advice a mentor gave me to me once was that you will see that men tend to apply for jobs that they're underqualified for, and women tend to apply for jobs that they're overqualified for because they want to be able to deliver every single thing on the job's description, whereas men, they count on their transferable skills, and that's exactly how it should be. We should be able to say we're versatile. We're going to be able to develop on the role, and I think that's a huge problem because we underestimate ourselves so much that we don't apply for roles that can help us move up the ladder. Whereas from her experience and her opinion was that men overestimate themselves, but that's how they're more successful because they're plunging into industries and careers that
took a leaf out of their book.
Yeah, they're plunging into careers and industries that they may not have 100%, but they know they've got 30%. It's just to give percentages. It's not to scale, but just an example.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to do the same. So that's exactly kind of a strategy that I'm trying. And there's just so many things I've applied to and I've had interview and I had no idea what, this is not very similar to my experiences, but just for the experience of the interview, it's so important. And I think you need to put yourself in these uncomfortable spaces and show that you are an asset because it's all about learning and developing. And I think people think that the job description is everything, but it's not. It's about hiring a person that's able to do the job, but being able to mesh into the team. And we have people skills, that's for sure.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Maryam. I'm going to ask the second question, basically, which is, do you think these gender conventions differ from cultures, or do you think it's overarching, and does it negatively or positively impact women? Farin, I just want to go to you first on this one.
I think there's a whole layer of like stereotypes for women, and then in each culture there's like more layers to it.
Good answer. So let's delve into any culture. Pick anything that you know of.
I'm gonna pick like Indian culture. Okay. So for the first anyone that I know from India, they don't work at all. They're always at home.
If it's a female.
Yeah, and that's what it's like expected of them. So all the males, they go out to work, and everyone else is like at home.
Okay, and do you think that's because ladies know straight away that they can't work, even if they want to work, they're not allowed to work, or how is it?
It's because they get married. Like it's like when they reach that puberty age, it's like, oh, you have to get married. Like there's no way. So that's what happens with a lot of people in like my culture. So they do the whole like education, like high school, primary, and then they immediately they don't even think about, oh, I want to get a job when I'm older. Okay. That's like we are doing it now because we're here, like, oh yeah, we want to get to interviews and stuff. They just think, oh, I want to get married. Like it's good to get married, but they don't have any aspirations because they've been like the whole like childhood they've been feeling like, oh yeah, you're gonna grow old and stuff.
So you're saying basically that their desire isn't, well, it might be there, but they are so used to this now that it's normal. It's like, yeah, I know I'm 18, I want to get married now. Yeah. There's no even desire to look for a job. There's no searching, there's no applying.
There might be, and they don't say it, they just like doing what is expected of them by their parents and stuff.
Okay, and that's expected to you. So again, like you said, and I agree with you, there's nothing wrong with that as well. You can be 18 and feel like you want to get married and start a household and so on. But the fact that you said that everybody does it, all females do
there's
it.
There's no choice element.
Stay at home. There's no choice element, like you said. And also it's just expected. That is so almost, I don't want to say it's sad, but in a way it is for a girl to not even feel like they can do something different. They just think, this is my life and I have to do this. There's no other option.
They just think about it, but they don't say it like out loud because they're like scared.
So they can't even say it. They feel like there's no point in even trying to say it. Okay, wow, that's interesting. And I do think that's in India culture, you said, but that is also everywhere. Let's just be real with that. I see that, like you said, Victorian times, just pre-Victorian times, it was here in the UK as well. So that, again, to answer the question, yes, it is in India and South Asian, but I think it was literally everywhere just a few years ago, really. So what do you think about the ladies there in India, for example? Do you think they're valued? They stay at home, okay, fine, but is there value put on that?
I don't think so. I think in the whole South Asian culture, there's no value of what the woman does. And then when you come home, like sometimes even my brothers, they ask like, "Oh, what did you do all day?" Like, what do you mean? What did I do all day? I was at home. I had so much stuff to do. There's so much chores in the house. It's not like it's an easy job. And like you said, it should be a high paying job because it's really hard work.
It would, honestly, if you could put a wage in it, I believe it should be the highest paid job.
Literally.
Yeah, it's making a house a home. And when you see it is when there's only a man living in a house by himself. Okay, or just a few men living in a house by themselves. Some of them are great, so thank you to those guys out there that are. But honestly, I know from my friends' experiences that they said, or girls that have married into houses where there are only boys, they're like, you can tell the difference straight away. Okay, I know that might be a stereotype, me saying this as well. If I say that, then are like dirty and so on. I don't mean that all men are, but there's definitely, you can tell the difference when there's been a woman's touch. But yeah, I think the value part really is what gets me, because fine, stay at home, right? If you are a woman and you genuinely want to stay at home and make a house a home, raise children and so on, that's absolutely fine. That's a desire you can have. But the point here is, why is that not valued and seen as, thank you so much, you're amazing for doing this? That's the part. And I think one good thing is in our religion, the value is there. And that's the beautiful thing about our religion, Islam. So we are talking about culture, but if you look at religion, the value is 100% put there. And it's even put there when you talk about like husband and wife, for example. For example, when we talk about money, we do say that the money that the husband has is for you as well, the female. The money that she has is for herself, but the money that the husband has is for him, your female, your wife, your whole family, is for everything. You protect, you provide, And I think that really does show the value of a woman, because she's seen as something valued. She's doing such a big job. So a man should be able to provide for her. Maryam?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, not, a lot of people might say, well, okay, if this is in the religion that he has to provide, then that's it, that's his role. And then her role is to take care of the house. But actually, the Prophet ﷺ gave hadiths on how a man should help out in the house. There's multiple hadiths. And there's a hadith that the best among you are those that are the best to their wives. I don't think anyone talks about that. And I just wanted to even take that over a little bit deeper. The biggest example I always look at is Khadija radiallahu anha, who is the wife of the Prophet. And she was a entrepreneur, and she funded the Prophet ﷺ to do his mission. Our religion is very practical. It wasn't that money just came out of the sky and he was able to do his mission. No, his wife supported him. She had the financial backing to help him to spread the mission. And if even if we think about even beyond that, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, Aisha radiallahu anha, she was a scholar. She was known to narrate so many hadiths. So we have such great examples in our religion from the very beginning. Those gender conventions that arose from culture was completely dismantled as revelation came. It's just that we decided to use our culture in a way to enforce religion, which is completely wrong. And I genuinely believe, because there has been a blur between culture and religion, so many offset problems have occurred. And I think one of the things that my teacher, who's from the Faith Institute, has said, that the things that seem controversial in culture is completely acceptable in religion. And I think that's really profound, because we have moved away from Islam so much that we find things that are really, we find things that are completely acceptable in Islam liberal or attributed to Westernized society, but that is not the case. Our religion gave those, it gave us that liberty way before Western countries have kind of created those. So I think for me personally is just to kind of distinguish between culture and religion, to understand that religion is very universal. It's very fluid. It allows you to use in terms of teachings in the right time of any time that we're living in.
Yes, thank you so much, Maryam. And didn't even realise we're coming towards the end of our show. But on what you said is that it's quite surprising when people suddenly find these takes liberal or like, oh, surprising. And it's like, no, this is the first thing. Religion is what you should look at first. This should be the norm. Anything that comes afterwards is you've added yourself. That's culture, right? So Farin, I just wanted to touch on, obviously you're the youngest of us here. But even now at this age, yeah, do you feel like you looking back, there's any advice in terms of like, as a female, what you would give to your younger self? Like, I'd give you my example first. I would say that I should stand strong a lot more. And I feel like I was a lot of times quietened by men. Like I said, when you feel like you can't say your point, you're like, oh, just leave it. I would say to myself as well, be educated so I know what I'm talking about a lot. And just so I can be a bit stronger as well. But that's it, really. Any advice that you'd give to your younger self?
I'm gonna go to that point where we said that we're a bit humble. I'm gonna say that I should have not been that humble when I was like in high school and stuff, because once I knew the answer was right as well, but nobody would put their hand up, and all of the girls, even if they knew the answer, nobody would do it. So just being a bit more outspoken, you know, that if you know it, you know it. Like, it's just no problem you knowing it, and just being a bit more active and stuff when I was in high school.
Yeah, I like that answer. Maryam.
Just on Farin's point, even if you don't know the answer, put your hand up and just say it.
Yeah,
it's about learning and growing, and be the person be comfortable with making mistakes, because that's the only way you will learn, and you're more likely to be successful if you make mistakes.
Yeah, and other people aren't afraid. Other people, such as men, they make mistakes. They're not afraid to make mistakes, some of them. So we should take a leaf out of that book. Anything that you want to say that you would say to your younger self then?
Oh, wow, that's a very deep question. I think it's just trust yourself a little bit more. I think just sometimes we undermine ourselves so much, and to kind of allow my inner voice not to demonize myself.
Yeah, or that inner voice.
It's really important to, uplift yourself, because even just from a religious perspective, we're so valued in the eyes of Allah, so it doesn't matter what other people think or say to you. And even if someone labels you as certain things, it doesn't matter, because you should know what you are.
Thank you. Exactly. I love that point. And girls, ladies, we need to be stronger for each other, I believe.
Yeah, we have like a universal language. And you guys think like
we have a universal language. And sometimes it's not good. Like, for example, I know we're coming towards the end, but you know when you want to say something and then you kind of look at each other and you're like, oh, us girls, should we all just leave it? Or like, we know us girls, we need to be stronger for each other and support each other more. We definitely have a universal language. I love that you mentioned that. But yeah, we will touch on this topic again because I think it's a really good topic, and we only literally got through like 2 of our questions because we're all ladies here and we have our lady experiences that we can talk about. But yeah, guys, we are on @SisterSpeak, which is on Instagram. This will be on Facebook Live as well. I think it is a pre-record, but please be in touch if you want to share your thoughts on our show. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on Inspire FM. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Why not tune in to our live stream at inspirefm.org and follow and subscribe to our social media platforms at Inspire FM Luton.